Okay guys, I want to make a video about a leak I'm having in my truck. You can see there it's a fairly new truck. Kind of frustrating like it would be I guess for most folks. But I wanted to show you what I found. First I went out to pull my jack and I noticed that the bottom of it was wet, like it had been sitting in water. So I stopped kind of what I needed the jack for and started trying to figure out where this water is coming from. And this is the second time this has happened, but this is much a worse time. Right there along the door jamb, you can see just how much water collected, and this is the front passenger door, just how much water collected in the foam right there. And I'm going to squeeze a little bit of it out, and you can just see the water kind of pool down in the bottom. A lot of water there, just absolutely soaked. Here's a shot from the passenger door in the back underneath the front seat on the passenger side, and you can see that dark carpet area right there is where the water's collecting very heavy. This is probably the worst area in terms of the water. So even started to kind of run up the transmission tunnel there. This is the back passenger, where the back passenger would put their feet on passenger side vehicle, and you can see that dark ring there. This is what I found after I pulled the back panel off. I noticed the cabin vent pooled up with water just like you see there, and that's water that would leak then into the floorboards. And your cabin vent just kind of vents out air like you see pictured when you're running your AC or when you open and close your doors, especially when you close your doors, but that's their job if you didn't already know that. The right side, this is the driver's side, is clear of water. Now it's kind of getting hard to see in the camera because everything at this point is fogging up on the inside. It's raining out at this point still, and I'm in the truck, doors closed, truck off, trying to figure out where this water's coming from. And I figured while it's raining is the best time to do it. But you can see there's no water collected, even though you can see some condensation on the flaps there. Now back over to the passenger side, again you can see that water right there, and it's just a pool of water. It's not necessarily raining hard enough right now to cause the leak to happen, but you can see the pooled water there, and that's obviously the source. In this case, it wasn't my third brake light or back window, it was this vent. Here's the vent. Here's the failure in action. So my wife's running a very small amount of water on the back window above the vent, and you can see even in a small amount, it's enough to cause the failure to happen and water to run into the cabin. Here's why I believe this is happening in this case, and probably a few other cases, is water's collecting on the bottom of that seal, and you can see that's the inside of the seal that sits against the cabin on the outside, facing in. My opinion is there should be no water that even gets there, but in this one, and my other side is also collecting water there, and you can see that by the mold line at the bottom. Well, I think it's just collecting water, and before it can naturally drain off out of the bottom of the seal and on the outside of the truck, it's filling up high enough to overflow into the cab through that little notch that you can just barely make out at the kind of bottom right of your screen there, and that's where my water's coming from. Now both of my vents are like this. They both have the mold line there. It's just that this one happens to collect enough water to actually overflow into the cabin. And I'm guessing that all vents are probably like this. They just usually flow out before they overflow, and mine didn't in this case. Let's see here. There you go. There's the leak again. My thoughts to fix that was to kind of draw the vent in tighter to the cab, because when I grabbed the vent and I pulled it into the cab, water would stop flowing. I didn't get that pictured because I couldn't do it with one hand, so I figured I'd put some foil tape up there and see if I couldn't build that surface area up enough so those retention clips at the top would kind of draw that seal in tighter to the cab. But in the end, it would have to be too many layers. You'd have to draw it too tightly onto the seal before it would actually stop flowing water. So I figured that's probably the wrong way to go. So I had another idea at this point where I would just cut a small hole in the bottom of the seal. This is on the outside of the vehicle, and this is where the water's collecting, and I figured a small drain hole would allow the water to drain out before it could fill up this cavity along the bottom here and then overflow into the cab. And this almost had it. So I had her run a water, my wife again helping me out, had her run a water for quite a while before it actually started flowing again. So I knew I was onto something because it was a lot better than it was before. So I took it a little farther, and I cut 3 small holes in that seal right there, and it's in the bottom, and this is the part that overhangs, and it's on the outside of the cab. So I figured that would be okay. So here I have my wife running actually a little bit more water than normal to see if it's going to work, and I probably had her do this for 20 minutes. I mean, just because I was after that first kind of roadblock, I wanted to make sure. But this was I mean, never did a drop of water come back in. So this absolutely fixed it. So again, here's the ultimate fix for this problem. The 3 holes I put on this cabin vent and also on the other cabin vent, just to make sure that neither one of them would give me problems in the future. There's been a few major rains since then, and I've had no more wet floorboard issues. So I think this time I've actually got it licked. I hope this helps you out. Thanks for watching, and if you got any questions, just let me know. Bye.